I'm a stinky boy. I'm a stinky boy. And that's how I'm starting the podcast, is me singing I'm a Stinky Boy twice. Welcome back to another great and fantastic podcast that I've tried to do we're casually coming in, but we didn't really have a conversation that I could bring people into. So we're going to do an actual kind of semi-natural opening. It wasn't a complete welcome to the greatest, craziest podcast ever. We are so glad to see you, the people we can't see because it's not live and you're just watching it on your free time. But we're glad you're here. It's your boys. Your OGs. When you have a baby, you're going to call us to kiss it. It's your boy. Yes. So I'm not doing that intro. I'm just doing a normal, you're here to watch two guys talk about things.
You're not doing that intro. Here we are as normal men discussing normal things.
Normal thing. I want to be clear that I'm not doing that intro. Yeah.
Precisely.
So. All right. So actually, I think I can somewhat tie this in to what we were talking about before we went live. So the guy I was telling you about, he was, and this, so it's good that you have the information of who I'm talking about too, because this will give you some more insight. But he typed in something, and I really wanted, because you got your master's in philosophy, so you will actually have some learned insight upon this.
He bastardized my subject area.
Yeah, I don't know. He was talking about anarchy, and he's an anarchist. And this is what anarchists are. And he said anarchists, and he's trying to glorify, because he thinks he's an anarchist. That's, he thinks that's why he's a douchebag to people, because he thinks he's making people, I don't know. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. I poisoned the well with that. I put too much of my opinion out there before I asked the question. So that is a bad point for me.
We'll retract it from my memory.
It doesn't exist.
I'm going in just thinking anarchist.
So he defined anarchist, and I couldn't find, I didn't have the time. I was going to actually go back into the VOD and look it exactly up, but I can give you really close to what it was, okay? Yeah. It was anarchists are people who fight for human freedom, and that means the freedom from religion, the freedom from social expectations, the freedom from, it was something else, yada yada, and they do it by acting free themselves. That was his statement. Now I was I don't know if that's the official anarchist's philosophy, and he was just quoting something he's memorized, or he was just writing it out. I don't know enough about it to I know what I think about actual anarchy and how it actually plays out in reality, but I don't know so I was going to ask you, what do you know of this topic, of this?
So it's a topic I'm pretty limited on, but I can give you what I do have. Right? Okay. So what I generally know about it is that it is a political view rather than an ethical one.
Okay.
Right. It is a view about how government should work and how systems of power should work between people. Right.
Okay.
What it sounds like he's talking about is this ethical principle of fighting for the freedom of everyone, or something like that, and that being
in all situations,
morally better. That doesn't seem to be fitting with what I know about it. I generally think it's favoring the Hobbesian state of nature, where everyone is just on their own. There is no real system of government. You take what you can and you try not to get got, right? And that's what I have always viewed as the anarchist's perspective, is we would be better off in a state of nature without any power structures whatsoever beyond, you were born 7 feet tall with loads of muscle. This person was born 5 feet tall with none. You get all of their stuff, and we're going to act like somehow that's fair.
Yeah.
That seems to me to be what the anarchists are more for than this freedom thing, right? Because I would imagine the people most on the side of freedom are actually politically libertarian.
Or I would say there's people who consider themselves conservatives who are also what they would say is small government that's where they think they want it to go back to kind of what it was earlier, before there was a large social expansion of it, and they just want
Yeah.
like every piece of government kind of have its own thing, and they would still consider themselves like conservative, or sometimes even like
I
that's
agree,
that
but
element of the Republican Party. So yeah,
within the realm of like, consider
yeah,
marijuana use or something like that, right? Like they typically a conservative, no matter
does
even
it?
if they're
Yeah,
small government, would rather constrict that and be against people's freedom to do that
yeah,
for the sake of some sort of like societal structure, right?
yeah, yeah.
Um,
No, I get that. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I can see what you're saying. Yeah, it's a little more. Yeah, as far as like what governmentally, we were comparing it to anarchy. Yeah, 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 yeah. But yeah,
yeah,
it was a weird thing because you could tell what he was getting at was like, no one should ever have any rules other than the rules they set for themselves.
Yeah, so I think what he was actually talking about is, God, was it ethical subjectivity, or that's not precisely. I
Yeah,
can't
I know what you're
remember
talking about. Yeah, it's like,
can't remember the exact word. Fresh relativism. Freshman relativism is what we always call it. Everyone should do what they want. I'll be good, you'll be good, and we'll just all be good,
yeah.
right? That's, and
And then
what's
he
good for
attempts,
me might not be good for
yes,
you,
and then he attempts to
because
quit that. Yeah,
yeah,
is a bad authoritarian
that's
hindrance
exactly
of
it.
humanity. Yes.
As soon as I say, hey, running around killing babies might not be the best thing for you actually to live your life positively,
Uh-huh.
that's viewed as paternalistic. And how can I know because I haven't walked a mile in their shoes and
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. And I think that was probably more of what he was arguing for was like, I think if I were to rephrase it, I would want him to have said, I am a relativist, right?
Yeah.
Instead of I am an anarchist.
But that's not as cool in punk rock. If you say I'm a
No,
relativist, but
it
if you
is
say
way
I'm
less metal.
also,
Imagine it on
I think
a
a lot of
shirt,
people
right?
do see like these like music groups and stuff that were like, especially during the early days of punk rock, where they were at, quote unquote, they
Yeah.
always had the A and stuff, and they were really like, oh fuck you, man, oh, and it was like very like
Yeah.
aggressive. And I generally, this is what I generally think it is for him. He's an asshole. I told you about some elements. He just insults people, and then he's like, I don't give a fuck, I'm so tough, I don't, whatever people think about me, I don't care. And it's like, one, that
Behind
makes
a
you a
screen.
shitty person. Like, you're a shitty person if you don't care that you're intentionally hurting other people just because you want to emote your personal opinion or whatever. Like, there's something there where it's like, you're not even giving your personal opinion in order to inform or instruct. You're just insulting for the sense of like control or power it gives you. Yes.
Yeah.
And then they do what a lot of people do, right? They redefine the terms and whitewash their actions with these flowery, oh, I'm freeing people from the mentality of, and it's like, no, you want to be self-centered, and you're trying to find a way to satisfy your subconscious and your conscience, and this is how you've done it. And that's what I actually think it is for him. It's just like,
Everyone needs to go to bed at night thinking they're a good person.
yes.
So if they are not honestly reflective, right, and looking back and thinking, well, I messed up on X, Y, and Z, but I am going to do better tomorrow, and that is what is going to make me a good person. If they can instead go, X, Y, and Z, doesn't sit right with me. What can I? Oh, but this thing, it made them because I beat them tomorrow when they are not beaten, they will be happier. So I did them a favor by beating them because tomorrow they'll be. I'm a good person for going out of my way when I didn't need to beat that person up. I got it now.
Yeah, that's it.
I got it. And so I'm gonna sleep here, and you're such a good boy. I am. That's what I think they do.
No, I fully agree with this. Yeah, no, I remember it set me off. Like, I didn't say anything, but I was just like, this is so dumb. I hate, and I mean, he's been known in the past to also make strong proclamations that are similarly like.
It sounds like the guy really does need help. Like.
Yeah.
I've encountered a decent amount of people that genuinely need help. He sounds like he's one of them. He's just not clear in his mind,
Yeah. And then, those type of people are given a platform through various forms of social media to
agree.
And that, I wonder how much that also enhances like the egotistical elements of it, or also the like validating, like, ooh, people have liked my thing, I must be right. Or it just, even the sense of like I'm presenting my opinion to the world can kind of like build that sensation inside of you that what you're saying is important and you should tell the world about. And it's like, no, sometimes you just gotta, nah. No,
Yep.
nah, you just brought, nah, shoosh, shoosh.
Well, think about like how unpopular is it to correct people in a sense, or how
Yeah,
unpopular is it to, counter what is being said? I mean, you can find yourself in a group of people that are saying some crazy shit, and
nobody
you
would.
might go along with it,
Yeah,
right? It's very common that that happens just because of the way we work socially.
it is. I think I find that to be more the case during like a live stream or in person or on like Discord than on social media where it's like there's that separation of someone posts and then 3 hours later you post a reply. Because I always see like, let's say somebody says, I think dogs shouldn't poop in other people's yards, and someone will come in, you're crazy,
Yeah.
stupid Nazi, and then someone else will come, no, you want people to get ringworm in their foot, and he's just like, then people are
Yep.
really comfortable conflicting and because it's like you can just say whatever and then leave, right? And you really don't even have to engage ever again.
Well, I wonder how willing to do that they would feel if they didn't have, a group of people in the background somewhere
Cheering
else
them on.
telling them that they were
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
I think that's part of what it is, you know, they need some sort of, even if it's just a few people, right, that are like in their corner. And that sort of empowers them to go out and then do that elsewhere.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's funny. It made me think of one of my notes on here. Is just say there was a woman and she posted this fairly lengthy thing, and she was just saying like, I don't reply to social media posts that upset me. And the reason she's like, I don't like. I'm actually busy in my life. I have to get stuff done.
Yeah.
And if I have maybe a few moments of mental clarity and peace when I'm not already doing, it's not cluttered and I'm not going and doing and driving and grinding mentally, why would I waste that moment of mental peace typing in an argument to someone who's not going to care what I say? And that's the reality, right? Like, you almost never change people's mind because, especially if your response to a position that you don't agree with is to just insult. Like, people like, oh, you're such a fat, stupid slut. Blah. And it's like, just because they hated you, that you said you like baseball more than football, right? It's like, you didn't even provide something they could agree with. Like, but it's like somebody has to take this time. And I kind of think that's a valid, position that, like, I have to catch myself because I find myself wanting to be like, correct. And then I'm like, well, I'm a delete.
Yeah.
I'm like,
it's a parallel argument to one that I have for myself, which is like, would it be nice if I could correct the views of the people around me to get them more harmonious with the truth? Yes, that would be nice. But at the end of the day, I am not responsible for their thoughts and their views, but I am like deeply responsible for mine, right? I am the only person that could be responsible for mine. And so if going on social media is going to fuck with my views or my, like ability to control my own self and my determination and so on, right? Then I have a responsibility to not do it, right? Like, I don't have a responsibility to fix other people's bullshit mentalities, if they're completely dead wrong about something, then it would be doing a favor of me to say anything at all, but it's not obligatory that I do, right?
Yeah. No, I agree. I trying to see. Okay, you know what? Because this is all kind of based a little bit around social media. A lot of it's like kind of how we engage it, but I was thinking about, because you're talking, and I guess we're talking about like bad opinions online. I was trying to tie this together so there's a flow to it, but I'll tell you what I saw, and then I'll explain why this ties in. Does that make sense? So that's where I'm going. There was a post, and somebody posted a chart or something, by the Florida Health, a Florida Health group. I don't know if it was the official one. I don't know if it was not particularly horribly important, and it was, these are breads that have glyphosate that had trace amounts of glyphosate, which is like a cancerous material. And it was like, oh, these are breads that like are in your everyday store. So we're talking Nature's Own, Sara Lee, that kind of stuff, right?
Okay.
Now, at first, and so then everybody was like, oh, I can't believe these breads are in our grocery stores. Grr. And it's the worst thing ever. And people were like mocking the bread, and they jumped off the conclusions. And I thought it was very interesting because I read through a bunch of the comments, and then I started seeing people being like, well, actually. And so some of the well actuallys were, one, the it was not EPA, one of the food people who decided,
FDA, probably.
Maybe, no, it wasn't the FDA. It started with the E, but maybe it was EPA, because what it was saying, because it had to do with like parts per million that you can have and it not be considered harmful for humans. Mm-hmm. The number they top it out at is 400. 400 million parts per, or 400 parts per million becomes, they say. Now, part of me is like, yeah, but they get stuff wrong all the time, right? Like, how many times have we heard these official, oh, this is safe to eat it up, and then 2 years later, like, this is causing widespread disease and panic, and you're like, so there is a part of like, okay, I don't know if their number is right, but I found out the chart when it was measuring, it was like, oh, this has, well, there's a lot of things, so we'll go, but the chart, one, was measuring their numbers, and the numbers never got above, 191 was the highest number, right? Mm-hmm. They were measuring in parts per billion. So if the number is supposed to be under 400 parts per million, and these are like 191 parts per billion, they're not even close to it. But they knew
that's
fantastic.
It's praise more than anything.
That's not even close. But they knew, oh, this isn't going to be this won't get the juices and people, protesting. So they put it out there, and no one thought to look at, because it actually even said on the thing, like on the asterisk, parts per billion. But nobody knew the difference, and so nobody looked into it, and they're all getting outraged, and they're not ever going to look at the difference, right? So it's going to have its intended effect, because that's what you recognize. It's going to hit, people are going to think it, and they're going to go around their heads going, this bread's going to cause me to get cancer. Another one.
It's amazing how the human brain is like built to identify patterns, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's what we do 99% of our lives to function. All we do is identify patterns, right? And to some degree, we enslave ourselves to them, because when stuff like this happens, how many times has it been the case that stuff that we were doing is now bad for you, right? Like my grandfather all the time is like, I used to drink tap water. I still drink tap water. And my mom is like, my son, don't you dare drink tap water. Filter it. Filter it. I will give you a Brita filter. Filter every drop you drink. And I'm like, every once in a while, I'm just going to drink it out of the sink. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not that. Yeah, like if you're at a business and they have a water fountain and you're desperately thirsty, you're not going to get.
Yeah, I'm going to drink it.
Take a sip. Yeah, it may not be good long term. I agree. Like not taking the fluoride in over the. But if it's every now and then, it's not a big deal. Yeah, continue.
But there's just so many of these instances where it's like you start to like then. All right, what's next, right? And so when people present you with, oh, this is now horrible for you, like cutting your fingernails is now horrible for you. It's unhealthy to cut your fingernails. You were more tempted by it because it fits the pattern that you've gone.
Yeah, I do wonder. So there's a few things, right? Like I wonder how much they used to put fluoride in the water. Like when did they start? But also just like food. Like I know that like. Companies have started using more and more artificial ingredients over time so in other words, like the McDonald's burger in the 1950s is not even the same like materials as what they're using as a McDonald's burger today. And so someone could be like, oh yeah, when I was a child, I ate McDonald's every day and I turned out fit and healthy. It's like, well, yeah, that was a different material. It's weird because you kind of have to, this is almost where I was going, you kind of have to constantly just back and forth in your mind, argue the point and keep going back and forth. And that's what I think people have really completely lost the ability to do. They go one way find a conclusion, and then they're just sat like they don't go, okay, but this seems a little off. Let me, because this is the other thing I was going to point out about this, and to prove my point. So then on this list, most of the breads were like, say, 151, 141, 191. They're way in the triple digits, right? Then there is this one called it's the bread that I like to eat. It's called Dave's Killer Bread. Quite healthy, organic, good.
Muscle Man
Yes, it's good stuff. It had 10 parts per billion instead of 100. So
absurd.
Yes, like it's practically not there. Like it's almost like just cross contamination because they sprayed it in a farm over. They sprayed it on their stuff or something. Like it's so like minuscule. You couldn't even a 10 part per billion. It's like it's not there.
It's like they have a sterile field around where they get the wheat, right? Like.
It's crazy, but then people were like, "Oh, Dave's Killer Bread, that's an accurate title," and they were like lumping it in with the other ones, and it was like, can you not even look by the numerically? It's 10 times less than the other. Even if you thought those numbers were per million, it's still almost nothing. And then there's another thing with the chart that got me. There was Sara Lee honey wheat, I think, was 191. It had the highest parts per billion. And then right below it was Sara Lee white bread that they said they couldn't find any trace or like not enough to calculate as a noticeable amount. And I was like, that seems very, because I know these companies, they're not buying completely different treat from like wheat from a. So how did this Sara Lee get it and this one not get it? That makes me question, again, the way my brain works, that makes me question the whole chart. Like, is any of it accurate?
Unless it all comes from whatever they throw, like the honey or something, right? Because like, unless that is the root cause of all of it, then it doesn't make much sense. Because I bet 99.9% of the ingredients are shared between them. Right?
Yes, but that's what it had been. So that's why I was like, boy, that sure doesn't make, because the whole thing was like there's all these different forms of bread. So it's supposed to be saying like there's something with the wheat and the bread. But anyway, that's why I was like. Then made me question. So I'm back and forth. I'm like, well, yeah, I don't want to over trust the government because it tends to give us bad health advice all the time. But I don't want to over trust, these these numbers that are clearly trying to be a little manipulative and back and forth. Yeah. And I find that like that is people need to do that, right? Like even with the Epstein files, they need to go more than one layer deep and like, oh, this name was somewhere. We don't know how or why, but it was somewhere in the files. Ergo, they're guilty of banging babies. Right. It's like you see that people just have no It's like I feel like there's something that's deleted that.
No, I've said it's at this point I'm gonna be a damn broken record saying they've let that muscle atrophy.
Yeah.
From birth they just I go through every day thinking the entire time that I'm awake, as many of us do, but not everyone does that. And so, I think it happens a lot with people that they get like off of work where they've had to exert maybe 30 or 40% brain power. And they're like, I am so tired. I couldn't possibly do anything else, when it's like other people spend a lot more time working a lot harder, at least mentally, right? Like the mental work is sort of what I'm talking about. But like I do think if you don't process, you then can't process later, and that's what I would always say about this. I don't think they can.
I didn't put this in my notes, but just your example, it made me think of like, okay, we have a friend who, I mean, we have opinions on streamers for different reasons, but his is like, well, they're just playing video games. And I think that's more, and it kills me because I'm like, if you're even a moderately decent streamer trying to engage your community at all, and it's not like playing games. I can play games for all day and still at the end feel kind of, I'll just do whatever, right? When I'm streaming,
an entertainer with it as a background.
Yes, my voice is almost every time I stream over 2.5 to 3 hours. That's all I got. I don't even know how Peanut does it. He does it for like 8 hours straight. I got 3 hours.
Time and effort. He's done it longer.
My throat is like, I can feel it like in my voice going, and I have to push harder to get the voice out, but also just mentally. exhausted by the end. I am like, all right, we're going. And then at the end, I'm like, it's just like, but that's because I'm trying to read the replies and do stuff.
Absolutely. And I think if you were given, 3 years of doing that, you'd be
Yeah.
a little better. And then you'd be a little better after that.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
then you
technically,
wouldn't be as drained getting off.
Yeah. I mean, I've done it for 2 or 3. I mean, I did it for 2.5 years before I took a little break. So this is technically starting year 3, more or less for me. But it's just,
Yeah,
I don't think
a little break.
Yeah, I did. I still think it'll exhaust me. I just think the way because I do make sure I read the comments, I talk, I engage. And so I'm talking almost the whole time. And if you're trying to do that and play a game, it is so, to me, like, and it could just be me, right? Like some people I think naturally.
Well, I agree with you to some degree that it might just be, but I think even more than that, it's like the amount of effort you have to put into it is probably more than those who are. I think it's like a log rolling downhill, right? Like you're trying your best to push it, whereas they've got kind of a thing going,
Yeah.
and it's like, it almost does itself, to be honest, at a certain point.
Yeah. And it's funny because that is kind of my brand. Is like we have semi-intellectual. Even our jokes are kind of like what me and you do. It's kind of witty. There's some depth to it. It's connected. We're having an actual conversation throughout the thing that like is connected, and that's what people like. The people who really enjoy my streams, that's what they like about it. There's like connected. It's kind of more of an adult stream. It's not a let the 12-year-olds or the people with the mentality of a 12-year-old run the asylum. And I think that's also what part of it, right? Because I am thinking, I'm not just going, because I know a lot of streamers like, oh, whoa, no way, hey, no, and like it's just like background noise that's coming out of their mouth.
Yeah.
They're not actually like engaged. Oh, thank you for the stop, Bob. Shut up, blah, blah. And you can just tell, like,
oh yeah,
it's just they're not using their brain.
Janus, oh, you got me. Oh,
yeah, exactly. It is one of those, like, we were just talking about people not quite understanding if they haven't done it and they're not in it. Like, it's, there's a little more going on than, I always think of that about every job, though. I think everyone always thinks the effort they put in is the maximal amount of effort anybody is putting in. Right?
There was a study on that. It was fantastic. What percentage of people do you think? Oh
God, it's got to be high.
What percentage of people do you think feel like they do more work than everyone around them?
Oh my gosh!
I believe this was a Veritasium video that I watched.
I genuinely, it's at least 80%. I would say it's 80 or more.
More.
Okay.
It is 98%.
I believe it is. Why it's because okay, I have a story about this. So I used to work like back when I first got out of college, way back in the day, like my first undergraduate degree back in 2004. I worked at a fast food place, and man, let me tell you, everybody there thought they were the hardest worker, and it was the toughest job, and they could have done everything better than everyone else. Including the managers, like the managers would kind of set off, and then they'd be like, "I can't believe you can't." I'm sitting here dripping sweat because they had me. I worked at Barbaritas, which is like a for those that don't know, it's like a Chipotle. It's very similar to a Chipotle, except we cut up the meat, we grill the meat, and cut it up there. So my job was I got there. Okay, do they? Okay, I got there at 8 a.m, and I would get out, and I would have to. And this, I'm talking, my arms would get singed. It was the hardest grill ever. And you're just cooking up, enough meat for an entire day of a restaurant. And you have to get it, and you have to chop it, and you have to get it all done because at 10, so you have 2 hours, and it's, believe it or not, that's not a lot. And you are just like, I'm literally sweat dripping down my face every morning. And then they would be like, oh, why are you, and every now and then, like after I cleaned everything up, and everything was clean, I wiped it down. Sometimes I'd put my hands on the counter, like, oh, my back and my feet, and then they'd be like, and there's always one guy. There's two owners. One owner, chill dude. He understood. He's like, nothing's. We keep it good. We run a good business. He was very sharp on that. But he was like, there's nothing here to do. We don't have to re-wipe everything. The other guy wanted you to re-wipe everything. Like, he never wanted to see you not doing something, if that makes sense. And so even if you took 5 minutes just to kind of, I've been working really hard. Let me just take a second to collect myself and rest my back and just put my arms on the counter just to give me a little bit of relief. He'd be like, why aren't we wiping it down? I'm like, it's clean. What? But he had that mentality. But then the other people would all think the managers were dumb and they could all do a better job than the managers. And I remember I was kind of in the in-between where I worked the thing, but then if they left, I took over the manager spot. Like I would kind of run the place for a little bit. I didn't get paid like a manager. They paid me normal, but that's the role I had.
Yeah. Sort of a full-timer. Yeah.
Yes. And it was, I remember like having to kind of keep people in line a little bit and have to, like I got the other side of the coin and I was able to see it. And I was like, oh, it's not as easy as everybody thinks. It's everybody believes that they are smarter than the person who's above them. And sometimes they're right, but sometimes they're not right, and they just imagine it. And it's like, I feel like that is and it's funny. I love the study you gave because I was like, I feel like that's a lot in everything.
Yeah,
just everybody
absolutely.
always, right? Every football fan thinks they could do the job better than the head coach.
Yep.
And
a lot of people think they would parent better than every other parent, or they would teach better than every other teacher, right?
Oh, this is leading my. Go ahead.
It's
yes.
not fucking true, right? You have this theory of if I were a parent, I would never raise my voice. I would get down on the level of the child and I would explain to them why they can't do the thing that they want to do, and they would understand because of the way that I have explained it earnestly from the heart to this person. And it's like, buddy, that ain't how it fucking works. Sometimes you take the L and you give them the candy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Now this leads. Oh, tasty, perfect. One of my points I was going to make. There was a guy online. I'll tell you the story, and then I'll tell you what he said. That's what I'll do. So the story is, there was a group, the family. It wasn't a full family, but it was the mother, her 3 daughters, and her 13-year-old son. Younger 3 daughters. They got trapped in some sort of ocean, pushing them back out.
Yes, this was in Australia.
Yes, the 13-year-old who swam. He swam for 4 hours.
I saved this story.
Yep.
Because I was gonna throw it at you because I thought it was interesting. Yes.
So, here is the reply that the first time I saw it. This is what he said. It was a guy. And he was like, I would never send my son to go possibly die. I would always go and swim and die myself first. That's such a horrible parent. I was like, then people point out, they're like, but then you're leaving the 3 young daughters to float in the ocean by themselves. And they would he's like, no, well, there are no good options. And he kept trying to explain, but then they're like, yeah, but clearly having your 13-year-old son who might physically be able to pull it off is probably you're probably better served, and we don't even know if the mom was even capable, right? The son may have been the only one physically capable.
There's so many variables that I don't think it's possible to know what the optimal thing to do even was.
But no, he was adamant in all the replies he was replying to people. No, but I know what I would have done as the man. And they're like, well, the man wasn't there. The husband wasn't there.
He's been destroyed by podcasts.
That's exactly what.
His mind has been cooked by podcasts.
It was 100% of the. I would have. Let me tell you what. I would have strutted and I would have punched the shark until it let me grab on the fin and swim me into, because that's what a man would do for his family. And it was
and it's in Australia. There's probably crocodiles.
Yeah.
If a crocodile dragged me under, I simply would have not needed oxygen in that time.
That's right.
I would have
told my brain, you don't need oxygen.
Exactly. And I would have been just fine as the alligators latched onto each limb. I would have flexed and they would have burst off.
That's right. And so it was one of those things that made me go, oh my God. It was literally leading this pathway to what you were saying. I was like, there's something wrong with there's good healthy masculinity, but this is what they talk this isn't what they talk about when they say toxic masculinity, but this is what it should be. This is what it actually should be, is the over masculinization, the
absurd overconfidence,
the no you wouldn't, shut the fuck up,
Yeah. You ever hear could you beat a bear in a fight? That old, and you can kind of gauge whether people are reasonable based on whether they say yes or no. And it's it's similar to that, right?
Yeah. I was like, well, do I have weapons or like any kind of weapon? They're like, no, just bare hands. It's
A
like,
weapon
oh.
changes the game, man.
Yeah.
But if you're just barehanded,
It's like, no, what are you talking about? You are. It's like,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, a cub, perhaps, maybe a baby, a newborn bear, perhaps, maybe. You know, you'd have to change. You'd have to change things, right? That's basically what I'm saying. You'd have to change the scenario to fit. But this brings me to another point because it just kind of kept coming up as a consistent, like, we talk about women being crazy all the time. Men, this is the man crazy. So then someone pointed out a case that okay, so I'll tell you a story and then I'll tell you kind of the background and then what people say.
Go for it.
There was a dad who his daughter got sold off into like sexual work or something. Young daughter. He went.
Did she get like kidnapped or something?
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, that's that'll be an important crux of the story that I'm going to get to. But she was so he went, tracked her down, and rescued himself. So far, good job, Dad. But
fantastic job.
Then he killed the 19-year-old boyfriend, who he claimed was the one who sold the daughter off.
Okay.
Turns out there was zero evidence that he was in any way, shape, or form involved with her capture. And he ended up getting like first-degree murder and went to jail for. But online, this caption of it didn't say. It just said, "Man rescues daughter from sex slavery and kills the person who sold
the perpetrator. Yeah,
sold her into it." And it didn't. And then people went in later like, "Oh, actually, if you look at the court case, he had zero evidence, and there was no evidence. The police looked into it, found nothing on the kid's phone. Nothing, there was just zero. I mean, I'm talking nothing." And basically what happens, the father couldn't figure out how I personally think he just felt guilt that he wasn't able to protect his daughter, and he had to blame somebody, and like, I went and did something.
Could be.
But that's just me putting that on. I don't know that for a fact.
Sure.
But he did blame this 90-year-old who he had no evidence on, and then decided that it was his job as the man to go torture this kid, beat him, and kill him and stuff him in a car. And it was like, that's the problem with overmass and vigilante justice, right? Because that's another element. Not everybody is capable of performing You'd love to think people know the facts, and then they just execute justice when the justice system fails. But what actually happens is a lot of this, right? Is a lot of people who don't have information, but they need to blame somebody, so they go and they enact their own just to placate themselves, so they feel better about the situation. They feel like just and again, another one of those like, this is over masculinity. He was, I'm the dad and I had to do something, and he just. It's like, no, you can't kill somebody just because. No, I know. I mean, the evidence ain't there, but I know. It's like,
it's tough because it's like, I do agree it is over masculinity, and yet at the same time, I think masculinity to some degree revolves, or at least an aspect of it is self-control.
Yes, I agree.
And yet, in this case, I would say that what happened was a lack of self-control, right? So you can see my issue, right? Is it over masculinity or hyper masculinity? Yes. Like but is it true?
Yes and no.
No.
Yes, yes. Well, because that's what hyper masculinity is, right? It's fake masculinity. It is.
I think maybe that's where, yes, I think I agree. It's that you have like the masculinity that is actually masculinity, but then you pretend there's more on this scale than there actually is, and it's pushing into these fraudulent territories of masculinity. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, and so I don't know. It was just, I thought that was really, because it came up very similar after that last thing that I read. And then a next one is, I saw a video of a dad went with his daughter on her first date. And the first date is they met in public on the street. The little boy hands a bouquet of flowers to her. They are they're both like
4, 5?
No, 13,
like
13 14, 15, maybe as old as 15. I don't think they were 15. The boy looked pretty young, so I would say 14. But, I mean, the kid was super shy. Anyway, it lasted about 15 seconds because the dad was just standing there and just kind of like letting his presence be known. And then he shook the boy's hand to see if he looked him in the eye. And everybody underneath, oh, that boy didn't look him in the eye when he shook his hands. That no wonder they got out of there so fast. It was like, the kid's 14.
Yeah.
He was very sweet, handed her flowers. People all said that this dad did the right thing. And I was like, I don't think he, like, you can maybe stand off a distance if you want to, like, keep an eye on the situation and make sure that he, you know, for some reason that 14-year-old doesn't just start humping your daughter immediately or something,
Right.
I guess. But
I thought it was reasonable if you want to go on a first or a second date or something, like get dinner with like the kid and his dad or his mom or something.
and let them
like
have
that,
a parent
right?
there
Like,
too. Yes, like both.
you know, yeah, you can talk with the
Yes.
parent and they can talk.
I
Even
agree
if
with
you
that.
do it at like separate tables or something, like across the way, let them have a little bit,
A little
or even
space.
in a movie theater, like
Yeah.
hang out like a couple seats behind, right, 3 or 4, but let them have a little space, a little freedom. Just make sure they're not,
No, you'll never
know.
know. Gonna get a hand job when I can't see. You know, it's like, I
It's
know, but
fucking
parents.
crazy.
Yes, it's crazy.
You know?
Yes, that's
Although, actually, maybe it's not if they're being shitty parents, right? Because when I was in grade school, it was like the most the most controversial thing we would do is like kiss each other, right? To kiss the other person was like
Woo.
fucking wild,
Yeah.
right? And then you get into high school, and I'm talking to this girl, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I lost my virginity in 7th grade," and it's like, if I were your parent, yes, I would probably have had some issue with you going out alone on dates. Yeah,
Well, yeah, no, and that's the thing. I
but
was
you would know ahead of time.
Yes,
You would know
I
ahead of
also
time
would
what
say
your
I'm not
problem-
saying let your kids go to someone else's house or
Yeah.
go do something completely separate at 13 or 14, but just
Yeah.
like we were saying, give them a little bit of, like, you could tell he wasn't just going there to protect his daughter. He was going there to do the,
Making
like,
a scene about himself, really.
Yes.
He was
like
he
the
was
ones where they're
virtue
like,
signaling.
son, this is my daughter, with a shotgun, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, that's stupid. You're a
Which is
bad
another
parent
thing.
and you're dumb.
It harkens back to my point about how patterns fuck with us, right?
Uh-huh.
Because it's like that's the movie pattern, right? How many
Yeah.
movie scenes are there? Like, come into the garage with me, son. You open the garage, it's like 8 other muscular
Yeah.
black men all working out or something like that, or working on a car, and they're like, they all just mean mug the guy, and it's like, yes, is it a fun scene to watch in the movie? 100%. Are idiots going to take it and make it into real life?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Fuck those idiots.
Mm.
What is wrong with you? And yet they do it.
And yet they do, and they think they're protecting their. It's like, you're. Funny thing is, usually daughters who are raised like that become the wildest, craziest because they know it's happening.
Oh, I don't know.
And they get really frustrated with their parents, and they're the ones that'll
There
like
is the
push
church
back.
girl thing,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
They say the church girls are the craziest. And
Because-
you know what? In my experience,
Yeah. I don't know. There's some church girls that were pretty good, but I would say this. I think it depends on how you do it. If you just say, you do this because I said so, you get
Yeah, of
massive
course.
pushback.
Yeah.
But if you actually treat the child like an intelligent being and say, this is why, this is going to have some negative consequences, let's really talk this through, and, you know, treat them like a person who you're interested with, and they can open up to you and you will gauge, and you're trying to help them.
I think that's the key. It's like actually what the kid thinks of you,
Yeah.
right? But the kid, like, you can't disguise it, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you
yeah.
can't fake it. You have to actually be like empathetic.
And that's the problem, right? We have
reasonable.
a lot of shitty parents.
And a lot of people just can't do that. To me,
Uh-huh.
like, it's not a skill that they have developed in their lives. And here they are with a kid, and it's like they don't have the tools available to do the job effectively, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, it's funny, but I just always thought that it was like, so it's weird that in like 3 or 4 posts in a row, there was just this like I'm a man. Let me show the world what kind of a man I am. And I'm just like,
You can quickly go down that spiral,
Mhm.
like if I click like one video out there that's like a 2-minute workout montage, and all over my YouTube is like, now it's not just a workout montage, now it has like Jocko Willink in the background going, discipline matters, it's important to never let yourself down and never show weakness to the people under your control.
yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, now I'm in this death spiral of it's just strange vibes, you
Yeah.
know?
Like
Like the other
psychologically,
one was
just
just
yeah,
it was just there to like get me pumped and be like, all right, dude, I'm going when we go, I'm not gonna bench 45 on each side. I'm gonna bench 45 and 10 on each side,
yeah,
right? That's all I wanted, and
yeah.
now I'm in the
I
death
want to, cause
spiral.
see, almost all these situations is taking something that is good, like good
Yeah,
advice, and then someone perverting it or
yeah,
like over exaggerating it to where the point
yeah,
where it becomes bad. Like I think self discipline. We both are very big fans of self discipline. That is
yeah,
correct. And telling yourself, even if you don't want to do something, if it's the right thing to do, that you still do it. That is a good piece of advice.
absolutely.
But when you get into like you're never able to be weak, and you gotta if you
Yeah.
got cancer, you just tell yourself you don't have cancer and it goes away. You know,
Yeah.
it's like there's a point where it gets too
Never
far.
say sorry
Yeah,
ever. You're never sorry.
that's weakness. It's, you know, it's like no, that's horrible life advice. What are you
Yeah.
doing? Um, so yeah, I feel like that's kind of a consistent. It's like the fake version of the real thing. Is people take it and they like
Yeah.
exaggerate to where it becomes
I mean, on both sides, right?
ungenuine.
Because like women feeling good about their bodies does matter, right?
Yeah,
And yet you can, at the same time as you feel good about your body, recognize like, yeah, I'm not where I need to be, right? Um, it could be much worse, so I'm great, but I'm going to push to get better,
yeah,
and I'm maybe it's a confidence thing, right? But then I don't know.
yeah. It's kind
I
of
don't know.
like you should still know that you are a good person who holds value as a human being, but also understand that there are elements of your health that matter, and
Yeah,
it does help people if you start to look better. You will look more. The reason people
yeah,
think their brains tell them a person who is, it doesn't have to be super. I've seen people go the other end of that, where it's like if you don't have less than 1% body fat, you're a fatty and you're horrible, and that's just the way
absolutely.
modern society. And it's like they went too far that way. But it's like you need to be healthy. You do need to be healthy. That's the key. And our brains do tell us, oh, that person's not healthy. You know, they're gonna have, and so that's why we don't find it as
Yeah,
attractive. Um, but yeah, it is an interesting social phenomenon that it's like it's really hard for people to find the sweet spot in the middle, the
yeah.
accurate truth of
Even
the
though it's
matter.
a massive sweet
Yeah,
spot, right? Like it's not like it's this tiny little pinpoint precision that you got to get right.
yeah,
It's a pretty big area that you can fit
uh huh.
into, and yet people just can't do it.
It's very fascinating. I would
I,
like to. I'm sure surely someone has done. You would think somebody has done a study of some sort on why people struggle to find a moderate middle ground, like an accurate, not a moderate. Because see, I don't want people to find a middle ground if it's because we've talked about this too, right? Like sometimes the middle ground isn't actually the truthful, accurate position.
yeah,
Like there are times where one side is in fact correct, but
absolutely.
it's like people's ability to gauge truth
Pattern,
and change based off of pattern behavior. I
pattern.
guess so.
Because more often than not, it is the case that the truth is somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
And yet when you meet a truly honest person that tells you exactly what's up, you're tempted to go with, well, they're not telling me fully,
Uh
it's
huh.
probably a little bit more towards the middle, just because of the pattern. But I don't know. The more I think about it, the more I think, man, we really are just animals. We just, you know what I wish? You know those like electric scans of the brain where they show the parts lighting up,
Yeah.
when you do stuff? I wish there was like a number of neurons activated, right? Because I think that'd be really, really interesting. Because sure, you can see the electrical impulse, but is it a million neurons that are activating, or is it 8 million neurons that are activating? Are the neurons myelinated and faster and insulated and speedier than the, like, what is the quality of this electric impulse that's going on right now? Because
Uh
it's
huh.
got to be different between, I'm so curious, it's got to be different between people. It can't be the same, and to have such vastly different results.
Yeah. No. I would like to. That's what I said. There's got to be some sort of study out there that they. There has to be, right? Like we can't be, we can't be the only two people who thought this seems interesting and would explain a lot if we just knew this information.
Yeah.
Um,
Because certainly you could, like, give someone some novel information and have them like draw a conclusion from it, right? Like someone who's never seen it before, say, hey, Sam Harris is in the Epstein files that got released, right? Throw that information at people for not, and show me what parts of their brain light up, and show me the amount of neurons that activate. That's what I want to know, and I
Yeah.
want to see what the results are on what they think.
You know, it's fun. I mean, if we're talking about that just real quick, it's been another fascinating thing is the amount of people who don't realize that there's a difference between the Epstein files and this imaginary Epstein list that people think exists, where it's like Epstein wrote
Like
down
he was just
Bob
like
Jones. Yes, Bob Jones came and banged this many girls in this way, this many times. In sentence, I have my list of who
right.
diddled what, how many times. It's like
Upon this day, these 3 women were diddled by this person 8 times on this.
there's the Epstein list. It's like that doesn't exist. They don't realize like the files include like his checks for when he went out to eat at McDonald's and so it's like it's all kinds of stuff. It's like,
hey doc, how's that toe X-ray looking?
Yes,
looks great. Okay, thanks. Bye. That doctor is on the list.
Yes, the doctor, exactly. It. They're like, he's on the list. I knew it all along.
Yeah.
It is a fascinating, like, people, like, here's the thing, I'm not, and again, and you know what's crazy? People will hear what we just said and they're like, you're defending pedophiles.
Absolutely.
Like, they will not process what we're saying.
100%. They can't come to the right conclusion because they've already been told the options of conclusions.
Yes.
And the correct one isn't one of the ones they've been told.
It's fascinating. It is crazy. You look at, you're like, how did you not even? I don't understand how you didn't try to think more. I guess is what I get. Where I get stopped. Like, you just didn't even try to think more. It's
a hard thing to do.
Well, I'm gonna give you a scenario, and then you get to think more. You ready?
I love scenarios.
40-year-old
chest pain, diabetic, didn't take his aspirin, but took a Viagra this morning. Can't give him nitro now. You go ahead. Sorry.
You know.
I'm preparing.
You know what to do.
I'm preparing.
Give him a little.
Yeah, that's right. Took his Viagra. I can't give him nitro.
You gotta give him a little love and calm him down. Get it out of the system.
Gotta do that 1800s doctor.
Here's a question that was raised: should a spouse of either gender have and hang out with a friend of the opposite gender, and then furthermore alone? So I think, so here, let me give you mine and then I'll let you go. So, two things. I do agree with, I think the putting alone in there does change things. So it's like, your spouse isn't, it's not like, oh, we're all going out. Oh, here's my friend Kathy I've known for my whole life. Me and Bay are coming out. She can come out and hang out with us. I mean, that adds a little detail. I'm not saying it's great, but I'm saying that adds a little depth to it. Secondly, how ugly is this friend of the opposite gender? Because there are some chicks that it wouldn't matter if they were single and I am single, we ain't banging. I don't care how alone we are. It's just like, and I'm sure I'm the same way, right? There's girls out there who are like,
precisely.
It doesn't matter if you.
I'm not their flavor.
Yeah, exactly. We're not having. So there is an element of that, but I think this is also getting to, you need to kind of have rules because people will lie about some of those details to themselves and to their spouse to keep, status quo, whatever. And so I do think this is kind of like, there should just be a set of rules like, you're married, here's how you apply it. So I kind of agree with the idea of like, because somebody's like, well, this is about self-control. If you don't have self-control to blah, blah, and then the reply to that was, well, it doesn't matter about self. If you keep putting yourself in a really tricky situation over and over again, regardless of how good your self-control, you think you are with self-control, there's a much higher chance for a slip-up.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I kind of agree with that.
Take it from me. There's only so many times you can put yourself in a rough spot before you end up doing the thing you should not do. Right? I promise you. I don't care how super heroic you think you are. Eventually, you will fall. You can call it we are sinful beings. You can call it we are, humans and mere animal. Whatever you want to think it. But the truth is that you cannot hold out forever.
Yeah.
I have a slightly, I don't know. It's tough because like, it'd be different if it was like, this is my wife of 20 years,
Uh-huh.
and all of a sudden I have this friend who is just like me, but a little bit hotter, maybe, right? And she's like, oh well, I want to go hang out with Frank, right? Um, that is a different position than like right now if I were just like dating someone and
Uh-huh.
she was like, I want to hang out with Frank. I'm kind of like, yeah, go ahead, because if you guys end up like,
Then
sleeping
we weren't meant to be
together,
together anyway.
whatever it
Yeah.
is, then you've spared me
Yeah, you dodged a
any,
bullet.
like you've done me a favor,
Mhm.
truthfully, because I would not want you to be my partner, right?
Yes.
And maybe that's it though. But like after 20 years, even if my partner is untested in this, I would have enough trust for them to do it. Is the hope? But and I suppose it is, how much of my life would unravel if they did make the mistake, if they did the thing, right?
Yeah.
Like if we have 2 kids and we're married, and now she's going to go off and I have to pay child support for two, because she decided to do this thing, then
Uh-huh.
yes, this is a wildly different story that I'm not happy with, right?
I think I don't even think you have to be married for 20. I think once you get to the point where you are married, that is a you shouldn't get married if it's like, oh, this is still just dating stage 2. You know what I mean? I feel like once
Yeah.
you've decided marriage, it's like it's me and you and that's it. This is we
You're
are
right. It's
together and
not
we're in
dating
it.
stage 2.
Yes.
You're 100% right.
And so
But
like yeah, I think, and also I would point out, I think the guy was talking about self control. I think that's part of self control. It's just not having the self control to not put yourself into situations
it's
that
certainly
could.
self-knowledge, if not, right? Like
Yes.
knowing what your limits are, right? To some degree.
Yeah. Of course, how many people
100%.
know what their limits are until they're in a situation? A lot of people are like, oh, I would never, and then they
Could not
do.
agree more.
And
Could
so,
not agree more, because I hear so often from people that don't fucking know that they know,
yeah,
right? So many people, oh no, I would never. I
yeah,
would never. I'm a good person, right?
yeah.
They don't fucking know. They don't.
And almost all psychological like tests that have been done, like what to what level would people do? Like they kind of test, like would they shock somebody? Would they, if
Right.
they thought somebody's in a chair? Would they kind of like how much of a would you have fallen in if you were in the Nazi Germany?
I'm
How much?
so,
And it's like
so glad that you brought that
95%,
up.
97% would all be on the like
So
they falter because they
40% were willing to kill the person.
yeah
As soon as they viewed it as not them that was doing it, and instead this sort of being telling them to do it, and the
it
responsibility
wasn't
was
their
on that
responsibility. Yes,
person, 40% were willing to kill someone.
that's
Um,
that's wild.
like 90% were willing to cause like serious harm, but
Yeah.
40%, it might have been 30%, but regardless,
It's
way more than
way
it
too,
should be.
yeah. Way more than it should be for.
We're willing to kill, and it's to it's so foolish to think I would never. I cannot stand it. Right.
No, I agree.
I think unless you have like royally fucked up before and gone down paths that you should not have before, you don't really know.
Yeah. And that's why I say, since you don't know, it's best to just not. Don't tempt fate. Know that you're not. Don't tempt fate. Why? Why? You have a. Be faithful and do the thing and keep your. It's kind of like me with food. I will apply it to myself. I do this all the time. I go, oh, I'll buy a box of donuts, but I'll only eat one a day, and that'll fall within my calories.
Right.
And then by the end of the day, the box is gone. And it's like, I know better. I know that I'm going to not do the right. I know that as much as I love to think that I can be like, one, and no more. I'm good. It's like, and so it's like I have to just not buy the box of donuts. That's really what it comes down to. That's the only way to keep myself from doing the wrong thing. And so it's, I don't know. I do think that's an element of. I don't know if it's maturity or what that we are missing.
I don't know either, but it's tough because I also want to say, you should let your partner do whatever your partner wants to do, right? And you should just, if they want to do something that you're not okay with, you should like clarify that.
Yeah.
Right. Definitely don't just be like, okay, go, clarify. Look, I'm really not okay with this. Right.
Mm-hmm.
If it's somewhere you can compromise on it. If it's not, then you can't be with the person.
Yeah.
Right. Like they can't be your partner anymore if it is a non-compromisable position that you both hold. I think that's my answer. It's just
No, I agree.
mentally it gets hard for me once you care about the person so much that you're into this weird possessive thing that I think is actually kind of good for us to feel a certain sense of
Yeah.
possession over each other. And
Oh yeah,
it's
if
a complex
it's got to be
issue.
both ways, right? Yeah, but yes, I
That's
agree.
what I mean, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. It's tough. I have gone out with wives of my friends before, just the two of us, and we've been totally fine. And
Yeah.
it feels a bit weird doing it because it is sort of like, well, you're Ben's friend. You're not really my friend, right? And it's
Yeah.
like, it's like we can try to bond, but like it's different, right? And there is
Uh-huh.
we both feel the wall between us that
Uh-huh.
exists there. Um, it's almost maybe there's like a limit on the level of relationship we can have because of the third person that we know and care about, right? And
Uh-huh.
but I guess not everyone recognizes the wall, right? Or yeah,
Or they wish the wall wasn't there anyway. They, it's a little
yeah.
bit. Yeah.
In which case they're manipulating the third person, and fuck those people.
Yeah. I agree with that too.
They were wrong before they started hanging out, just the two of them, you know.
Okay. I got one, maybe two more. We got enough time to cover it. So,
Yeah, go for it.
and these are kind of a little bit more fun. I mean, not entirely, but excuse me. Golly, I drank water and kind of got stuck. How many? Now this is just something because I saw people writing about their glorious achievements, and it made me think about this. So you'll see where I'm going with this. How many fiction books do you think it takes to equal one nonfiction book? When people are bragging about how much they read, and the equivalent of the potency and like how it affects their, because right, there is a difference in reading Harry Potter and reading Plato.
Oh, I'm thinking, there's a famous psychology one came out a while ago called Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman, right? Huge psychology book, right?
Okay.
Um, and compared to, one of the Harry Potters, it's not even close, right? It's one page of a nonfiction, like literary,
Yeah, that's
like
what I was thinking. Something that makes you think.
educational
Yes.
book. There's a great paper. It's an epistemology paper. I can't remember the guy's name. Gettier, Edmund, I think Gettier. It's the Gettier problem, and it's a famous epistemology paper because most papers in philosophy are like 24 pages or something, so they can disguise poor argumentation. But this one was 3 pages long, right? I would challenge someone to read it and understand it before they read Harry Potter, right? I think you could get through one of the Harry Potters before you really get through this 3-page,
Uh huh.
um, at least to understand it, right? Of course, you can read the words, right?
Yeah.
But to grasp the concepts,
Read meaningfully. Yeah, yeah. And that's
yes,
what I was saying. Like I hear like, oh, I read 200-300 books this year, and it's like, did you? Like
yeah,
did you? Um, that's always. I mean, there are some technically fiction books that are like Crime and Punishment and stuff like that are they're technically fiction, but they're also kind of like
yeah,
philosophy and that. So that's kind of an in between stage. But I do always kind of get a chuckle out of people who like have never actually read meaningful, thoughtful literature, but they've read a bazillion different. They go and look at the Tor fantasy line in section in Barnes and Noble, and that's where they go and get. And then they're like, "Oh
yeah.
no, I am well read," and I'm like. I mean, yeah, you probably have at least a little bit better of a vocabulary maybe than someone who doesn't read at all.
Far better than nothing.
Yes, it's better. I agree. It's better than nothing. But I also think there needs to be like a ranking, a hierarchy, like a point system to.
I also think it's building different muscles to some degree, right?
That's true too.
Like the
Creativity versus yes.
imaginative elements, right? The
Mm-hmm.
creative,
You're right about
the
that. Yeah.
transportation of the mind, instead of the solidification of wisdom and knowledge,
Yes, that
right?
is true too. Yes,
That's
it's
totally
different. You're
different.
right. You're right. There's some value there too, because I do think that is a valuable
100%. And
ability.
I think some people who lack imagination and creativity would be better
Yes.
served by reading fiction than the
Mm-hmm.
nonfiction. I think that it's just, I think perhaps we notice more how stupid people are and think that they might do better with the
Yeah,
less
that might be true. That
fiction.
might be
You
true.
know, like I know for me, if I had to pick books for other people to read, it's not Harry
Very
Potter. It's not
rarely.
even Lord of
Yes.
the Rings.
Yeah.
There's only a few people that I would be like, you should read this.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's good. See, that's why I just thought it was an interesting thing. This wasn't like a big, deep, like, this will change society, but it was just like a interesting thing that I knew you would be able, because, like, we both read, as you said, I'm tired of reading. Because
I
we have
hate it
read
now.
so much.
I abhor it.
With so much with school. And I'm still doing it. And papers, you don't just read books, you read paper, you're just everything. You're just constantly reading. That's 90% of what, especially graduate school, is just reading. You're just always reading something and having to memorize it and keep it in your brain enough that you can process it and then regurgitate it in a meaningful way, showing that you actually understand it. Unless you're
painful,
a douchebag who uses AI to write all their papers.
Correct.
But yes, it is a struggle. It is a fight. It is a different experience.
I can't do it anymore. People are like, "Oh, you should read. It's good for your brain." I'm good. I will listen to Is it that different if I read Daniel Kahneman's book or if I listen to Daniel Kahneman explain his entire fucking book on a podcast, right?
Yeah.
Is it really that different? Now, yes, in that the mechanisms of the way my brain works change. That is true. But I feel pretty confident in the mechanisms of my brain now enough to intake via these other methods and not be too dissuaded,
No, I agree. I think there is, maybe because you've already changed your brain through an extensive amount of reading, that you can now engage these other forms of content.
It's like jacked people in the gym doing like maintenance work, right? Like you'll see these jacked people come in and to be like, how is that guy that big with those weights, right? And it's like, well, because they're just maintaining, right?
Yeah.
They didn't get there with those weights. They're just keeping that with those weights.
Yeah. They're happy where they're at, and now they're just maintaining. Yes, like you said, they don't want to get. Many people don't want to get bigger. They want to stay. So exactly. Like, I just want to keep what I have. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's about a good analogy. All right, one more topic that we can cut. No, stop it. Sorry, my phone. Just trying to give me Google.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I'm sorry, sir.
It's your fault. One more. Actually, it's kind of too related, but so do you know who Phantom is?
The Phantom Tax?
That's where it comes from. Yes, the Phantom Tax.
Is that where it comes from?
Yes.
I was just totally
It is a streamer. And honestly, that's what he's known for. Is that he is the fat guy who he goes on Kai Cenat's stream.
Kai Cenat?
Yeah, I know. Kai Cenat. And if Kai Cenat was eating, Phantom would barge into his room and force him to give him the food, or at least a big chunk of it, right?
I see.
And that's how he kind of got famous. And then he kind of did his own stream, but he got famous off of that, and then it just kind of carried over. So, I mean, it's basically, so you already know the type of streamer, okay? Put it in your mind. It's that genre of streamer.
Yeah.
He has announced that he is going to take a break from streaming. He is going to quit streaming because Twitch lowered his monthly income that they were paying, like straight paying him, to $700,000 a month. And he says he works too hard to not get more. $700,000 a month.
Let's just sit with that for a second. Let's
a month. Not a year, a month. And he will not stream for $700,000. I agree. I know people who are listening, this may not be enjoyable because we're just being quiet, but I ask that you too sit and contemplate.
Join us in quiet contemplation for this facet of our lives.
Selah. I should have said that after my example. Yeah. Yep. That is a good break of the silence. Yeah. Yep. Now this is the one. Remember when I was like, "Oh, streaming's way harder than people give it credit for." It's not this hard. Okay, it's not.
Yeah.
I'm making $700,000 a month, and I'm going to throw a hissy fit and quit streaming to just prove that. Like, no, like, nope. It's not. It is not. As someone who streams, it is not that hard. If I was making $700K a month, I know they do a lot. I know they plan a lot. They set up things. I get that there's a lot. They actually do production and work, but that's an insane amount of money to be a dumbass on the internet.
Yeah.
That's the statement I am willing to go on record for. That's an insane amount of money. And that's just what he's making off of Twitch. That's not talking about all those other deals and businesses he's invested in that's making him money on top of all that. It's like, this is it's mind blowing. That I was like, oh, you pampered bitch. Is what I like. That's actually,
It is. It pampered, self-righteous, entitled.
oh, man, I got. So this leads into another one, and I'm not going to say who wrote this, but I think it's pretty funny. It was talking about how Washington Post got rid of a third of their reporters.
Okay.
And the reporters came out and they were like, I'm so besought upon. Or, is that right? But anyway.
Beset upon?
Beset, yes. Beset upon. Oh, I'm such a victim. How could they? It's all evil right wingers. Anyway. I mean, that's kind of what they've been saying online.
At the Washington Post?
No, the Washington Post reporters were blaming people who complained about their topics and stuff, and why they haven't been getting as many views. Basically, why they've had to, because the Washington Post has been losing like $1 billion a year, $100 million a year. It was some absurd number, right? Like they are in the negative a lot, and so this is why they had to cut back. They're like, we're not making money. People aren't reading our shit because people can't trust us, and I do think Bezos is trying to like revert the Washington Post back to kind of like at least semi believableness, where you can kind of sometimes believe what they're writing instead of knowing it's all nonsense. But anyway, let me read you what this guy wrote about the situation. He was doing it very tongue in cheek. Okay. I was hired by the Washington Post in 2019 to cover the way racism in the healthcare. He's not a real person. He's making fun of it. To cover the way racism in the healthcare industry impacts gay Aborigine midgets with cardiovascular disease. Today I was laid off. I worked incredibly hard over the past 7 years to produce no less than 4 articles on this very important subject, and I was only paid $650,000 a year for my tireless efforts. Now I'm out of a job. I can't believe this has happened to me. And I feel like that is maybe the most, it's exaggerated slightly, but it is dead on accurate for what I've been seeing from these reporters on their like timelines, what they've actually been saying. It's like startlingly accurate. Like the mentality they have had. And it's like, what is it that makes people go like, I should not have to do anything that matters or put any actual effort in, and I deserve like like vastly more than the average person. Even a top-end plumber would not even get, and they keep
I think it is, so like I've said, every single person needs to go to bed at night thinking, I'm a good person, right?
Yeah.
If you were making $200,000 a month, you would recognize it in your brain, and you would have to ask the question, why?
Do I deserve
right?
Yes.
Why? Why am I making this absurd amount of money? And eventually, the answer becomes, because I'm worth it.
Yeah.
Because I'm that good, right?
Yeah.
And now, not for everyone. Of course, for some people, there are many other conclusions you can come to. Like, I am lucky, right? I forget which actor recently was like, I am just a very lucky man, right? I've led a very blessed life. I'm exceptionally lucky. I think maybe this is the difference, is that, there's 364 or 5 days in a year, right? If you spend every one going to bed thinking, All right, what makes me a good person? So on. Or am I lucky? Right? It builds up, and
Yeah.
Eventually it sinks in.
The
So
mantra,
I mean,
yes. Yeah.
I think they think they're worth that. I think they think that, like, I watched a clip from Moneyball, if you've ever seen it, right?
Yeah.
You got David Justice, who's in the batting cage, and Billy Beane is like telling all his players, "Hey, I want you to don't worry about being an all-star. Just walk to first, right? And then if everyone walks to first, we're gonna do just fine." And David Justice is like, "If you're paying me $7 million a year, I maybe I'm a little special, right?" And it's like, that is the thinking, right? Like that is where it comes from. At least I think that's where it comes
it's
from.
fun, but then reality hits, and it's like, well, no, people weren't reading your articles, and you weren't worth. That's why you got fired. And then they're shocked. They won't accept that reality, right? That's the problem.
Well,
they don't then go, oh, maybe I wasn't.
From,
they're like,
the punch from Moneyball, right?
Yeah.
I'm not paying you $7 million. The Yankees are paying half your salary to play against you, right?
Yeah.
They want you on the opposing team. That's how good they think you are, right? And now for him in the movie, of course, it sunk in. But in real life, it's an option of whether it sinks in or not, right?
Yeah.
You can fight the brain fights to defend you, man. It just does,
and
it will continue to do that.
It's fascinating.
It will defy truth until its dying moment, if that's what you let it.
It's sad. Oh, it's so I don't. I wish more people actually cared about the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, at least tried. I'm sure me and you have been wrong, and we will be wrong again. But at least I do feel like we try. We try to figure out the details and get to the accuracy and reality and truth. And man, I hate postmodernism. The relativist. There is no such thing. It's like, yes, there is. There is truth, and you know, from the bottom of my heart, fuck you.
Just please try to get a little closer, right? Yeah. Just a little. It doesn't matter if you're at 34% accuracy and you're moving to 35, or if you're at 98 moving to 90. Just please try just a little bit closer. Go from 34 to 34.1.
just yes. Try.
Just please.
All right. Yeah, that was good. God, I'm trying to decide if I want to. Hold on. Let me look at what time we got. One second. Nope, we're good. Okay, so everybody know that I love you. Placebo puts up with you, but I love you. And that I appreciate you coming and listening. And if you've made it to this stage of the podcast, I especially appreciate you, because you didn't just watch a little bit and then leave. You stayed the whole way through. I will give you kissums and flowers for Valentine's Day. And I hope you enjoyed it. And we will try to come back next week and slightly improve. I will stutter less, cut myself off one less sentence per podcast, and I will buy placebo lighting for his camera for if we film at night.
It's just about when we do it. It's
I know. That's what I was just teasing. I just looked over and saw it was dark and decided to give you a hard time.
I am the ghost in the darkness. I am the skeleton in the closet of this podcast.
That's right.
The demon under the bed.
I like you, and I like placebo. Ooh, spooky hands. Okay, bye-bye.